Welcome, everybody. This is the Trader Circle session, November 10th, 2024. For those who are new here or returning, my name is Advent, and I am not a financial advisor. Anything that we go over in this class or any of my content is not financial advice. Trading does have its risks, so please do your research before you engage in trading. For those who are new here to the Trader Circle, pretty much an open floor. So you can ask me anything you want and I'll answer it, whatever struggles you may be having, wherever you may be at in your trading journey that you might need some insight on or some help on. Anything is fair game. So let me bring up the questions list and we'll go over some of the questions for some of the participants. Let's see. Richard, I don't see your name. If you are in here, let me know. Whoever's name, and if I'm butchering this, please let me know. Shreyas, if you're in here, let me know. Rick is in here. He wanted to go over building your trading plan and system. That's a great one. Let me bring up mine so we can look at it, look at mine together as a reference. Give me one sec. Hey, Laszlo. Perfect. I have you a little down the list of the question, but we'll definitely get to yours. All right, where do I have this? There we go. All right, trading system. This is mine. Can you guys see this all right? Cool. So essentially, Rick and everybody else that's here, whoever may be watching, for your trading system, it's essentially going to be, most of the components of what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, at least the way I have mine set up. There are things here that I don't have, like my full journaling process, just because it'll just take up too much space, and I have a separate file for that. But essentially, what mine consists of is my non-negotiables. That's essentially a list of things that I must do before I trade. If anything on this list is not completed, then I am not trading. The reason being is we want to be at I don't want to say peak performance, but we want to be at our best possible state before we go into trading, right? We don't want to be half awake. We don't want to be sleepy. We don't want to be super tired. We want to be focused and ready, right? You want to be prepared. And what I've learned is that if you don't come prepared, you can go really south. So I'll tell you that from experience. So that'll be one component. And that may look different for you. Maybe in your case, if you're at work, maybe if you have some downtime, depending how attentive you need to be at work. Maybe the first hour in the morning, it's pretty chill. So you can actually focus on trading as opposed to, doing other things. Trading rules is going to be another component of your system. Your trading rules are essentially going to be what you've learned about yourself on what works and what doesn't, and some things to keep an eye out for. So, for example, one of my biggest mistakes, as I just mentioned, I need to be alert and ready for trading, is I used to trade when I was tired and half awake. I'll literally wake up within 5 minutes of the market open. I'll take a trade, lose money, and then wondering why I'm not profitable, right? I used to also trade in bed. I don't see the full picture when I'm just looking at one time frame on my phone. So I need to be at my desk looking at all the time frames to get a proper read on what's going on. And, there's other ones here, like your playbook setups, only take your best setups, morning routine, which I have up here. And of course, we always need to have a plan before we get into a trade, right? If you don't have an idea of where your take profit is, your stop loss, and where you're going to be getting in, then to me, you're gambling and you're not trading. So it's just some things to take note of. And I'm not going to go through everything just for the sake of time and to get to other questions, but you guys are welcome to pause this on the recording and just take notes of what I have. Playbook, risk management, pretty important. So you have an idea of what you're going to be doing. I have one for options and I have for futures as well. So, and then these are the setups that I take, and they're labeled B or A. My B setups would be any setup that has a win rate of between 70 to, I would say, 85%. And my A setups are the setups that have a win rate of 80% or 85, 80, 85 and above. So uh, anything below 80%, between 70 and 80 is a B setup. Anything above 80 is going to be an A setup. That's just how I rank them in percentage. And if you don't know how to get proper percentages of the win rate of the specific setup, in the chart and chill session yesterday, for those who know of that, essentially what I do is I'll take a sample of 25 to 30 of these setups when I'm back testing. And based on my risk management guidelines, I'll see which one's won and which one's lost. And then I'll make note of that and I'll put it into a win rate calculator and see how much it wins. And if it's above the percentages that I mentioned, I'll properly label them. If anything is under 70%, I'm not going to bother taking it. The reason being is we only want to really focus on taking the best possible setups, right? The mindset that you want to have going into it is if this is a C setup or anything under a B or A setup, I'm just giving money away. And I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to give money away, right? I would, and of course, to be fair, of course, the B and A setup, they can lose too. But I want to have the highest probability in my favor as opposed to, let's say, taking a trade that might be a 65% win rate, right? To me, that doesn't make sense. So you really want to take the best possible ones. It's always going to be quality, not quantity. I'd rather take 5 solid trades and win 4 out of 5 than take 10 trades and only win 4 out of 5 and then lose 5 poor trades, basically giving back all my profits that I made from the good trades. So just a quick little spiel on the setups. The orb stands for the opening range break. And then, my little risk note, just to remind myself, even though I already know by memory, but it's always good to write it down, the stop loss that I use for the specific setups. So in your case, Rick, if you don't have your trading rules, risk management, your playbook, etc., laid out in a very detailed and, well, I guess I wouldn't really say organized because everybody is organized in a different way, but you can make this however you want. This is my guide, how I have it written out. You're more than welcome to use it as a template for yours. And also, don't forget journaling. You have to journal every single day that you trade. I would even say if you don't trade, but you had like the FOMO to trade, but you controlled yourself, that'll be a journal entry that I would add in there. Any questions on that, Rick? Making sense? Welcome, John. Cool. So if you haven't already, definitely go through this material. If you're not in my Discord or any of the other groups that I'm in, for those who know me from Discords, you can go on my YouTube channel and I have a risk management video where I break down basically all of this in detail. And I have a playbook section as well for some of these setups. Cool. Let's see. On Kerr, I don't see you in here, so we're going to skip your question. Dion, I don't see you in here either, unless you have a nickname up. If you do have a nickname, let me know that you're in here so I can answer your question. If not, we're going to skip you as well. John, I see that, well, I'm assuming this is the John that asked the question. Know what time frame setups to take, correct entry, and contract expiration dates. So again, this really goes back to your setups, right? Based on your journaling, you're going to find out what time frames to take trades on. For example, let's go back. Let me bring this back up real quick. So for example, the TTO model, I trade it on the 5 minute and the 15 minute. And I have it labeled here in parentheses what time frames I look for these setups on, right? So the 5 minute and the 15 minute, I look for the TTO. While TTOs do print on higher time frames, like the 4 hour, weekly, daily, etc., they come very far and few between. But generally, I'm taking TTO since I mainly day trade. I don't swing trade as much as I used to. So these are the time frames that I use for these specific models. And you're more than welcome to use that as guidance for yours. Now, in the sense of correct entries, again, you really just want to make things simple for yourself. Let's go to Tesla, actually, since Tesla's been ripping the last few days. Hey, John, if that was you that answered that question, if you can confirm if that's you or not, because I want to ask you a question. Cool. Do you trade the strat or do you trade something else? And you guys can come off mute as well. Cool. So are you familiar with the strat on when you're going to be getting into a trade? Are you on the 4 hour? Cool. So it really depends, right? On what you're doing. So let's mark off Friday's level of the 4 hour break. Let's go down to well, even if you're just on the 4 hour time frame, as we can see, price opened up as an inside bar and then it triggered long. As soon as this candle breaks the previous high, you're getting into the position. You're not waiting for the candle to close. You're not waiting 5 minutes. As a strat user, we get in immediately as soon as that candle breaks. Let's go to the 5 minute real quick. So basically, the first candle opened up as an inside bar. Looks like it pulled back. Let me actually go to 1 minute to get some more information. Yeah, so it looks like price opened up. It would have triggered you long, pulled back about $2 or $3, and then it reversed back up and continued in the direction. So if you didn't get shaken out in that pullback at market open, you would have been very happy. So with the strat, like I mentioned, we're getting in as soon as that level breaks, whatever time frame you're on. Now, let's say we have a gap up, right? Like down here. The 4 hour entry is somewhere around this area, but we have a big gap up. When we have a gap up, I do not get into the trade immediately. What I do instead is I wait for a TTO to set up because if it's going to be a trend day, there is going to be a TTO. We just need to wait for it, right? So looking at the 5 minute, one that I probably would have taken, let's go on the 15 minutes. I don't see no clean one that I really liked. So 15 minute, this double inside bar, take that two up to the upside, targeting this high and then high of day. And then you can continue taking it higher wherever you might have other targets. So with the gap up, I just would have waited for a TTO to form. We are still bullish trend, and I'm just getting back into the bullish reversal back to the upside. So if you do miss the 4 hour entry, you can just use the lower time frames to get in. So I would have gotten in on this 2112 up. My stop loss would have been either under this candle or under that candle, whatever, your preference is. Target is here, then there, and then whatever other levels you may have, fib levels, broader information levels, resistance levels, pretty much anything. So hopefully that cleared it up. In the sense of expiration dates for options, that really depends on what you're trying to do. When I'm day trading, I use same week expirations because I'm usually in and out of the trade within an hour. So I don't really care too much about theta. The only thing though, on Fridays, I reduce my position size to half because it's zero DTE. And a pullback that might only give me a 20% loss, let's say on Wednesday or Thursday, might give me a 40 or 50% loss on Friday because of zero DTE. So I use 50% of my position size just to account for the increased percentage loss. So my dollar loss is similar to my other ones. So if I am day trading, that's what I do. Let me see if I have a screenshot, a little guide that I made. Let me show it to you. Where did I put this? Is it in miscellaneous? Flashcards. There we go. All right, cool. So if it's a 4 hour or daily trigger, I'm going to buy 1 to 2 weeks out. Generally, same week expirations. If it's a weekly trigger, I'm going to use 4 to 6 weeks out. And then I have the days here. Monthly trigger, so on and so forth, quarterly, yearly, X, Y, and Z. So this is essentially this is essentially the guide that I use for myself when I'm trading. And then I made the note here, same with expirations when day trading. Now, of course, this is what works for me. If I know some people who like to get next week expirations when they're trading. So this is what I use. Oh, cool. Perfect. So we're on the same page already. So yeah, if you are going to be day trading, the 5 and 15 minute are good for day trading. Yes, but remember, you can day trade on the 4 hour. That's fine. I just use specific time frames for specific setups. But you're more than welcome to use the 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour if you wanted to place trades, whatever works best for you. What I would encourage you to do, and others as well, if you're still not familiar with what time frames to take specific setups on, you can paper trade for 2 weeks and journal every single trade that you take. And you can experiment. Take trades in the 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. And then after the 2 to 3 weeks are done, get information on which ones work the best, which ones work the worst, and whichever ones work well, keep on using those and refining it. Whatever ones did not work, ignore those and don't bother with them. Cool. Phil, euphoria, patience, and stop loss. I'm going to need some more information from you, Phil. When you get euphoric, what happens? Are you like oversizing? Are you revenge trading? Are you not taking profit? What exactly is happening? And you're welcome to come off mute as well. You want to talk instead of type. And everybody else, you guys can ask questions in the chat whenever you want. All right, Phil, we'll come back to you whenever you respond back. Laszlo, welcome. Glad to have you. So you're starting off with options and you want to grow a small account. You want to learn how to source good stocks to trade and how to find them effectively and learn which trades I should buy calls or puts for. Question for you, Laszlo. Do you have a working strategy in the sense that you have like a strategy that you're using now that's working or not yet?
it's kind of overwhelming because I searched there's so many different strategies. I'm not sure which ones are good, but I kind of just wanted like sort of like a boot camp or some like a stairway or a path that I can take as a beginner to get into more healthy options because I was about to FOMO start trading because I see all these gains on Tesla and I would rather just kind of slow down. I told myself there's always going to be opportunities, and I just kind of, yeah, I don't really have a strategy. Just looking for something that is consistent, that will help me gain um, profits and not lose what I'm investing.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely. Something to note, you will lose, I lose,
Mm.
everybody loses. That's to be expected. We cannot escape losses. I wish we could. That would be great. But just to have some expectations there, one thing that you can do since you're new to options, if you go to my YouTube channel and then you go to the playlists and go to, I think in the trainings and walkthroughs, look at that playlist and the first video is understanding the options chain and Greeks, where I go over in detail, basically explaining options, the chain and the Greeks, so you can get a better idea of how they work, because that's going to be very, very important for you to understand. Now, strategy wise, I put it usually in my watch list section, or if you're in my group, there's a strat section for that. If not, you can go to my YouTube channel, go to the strat um,
Yeah,
playlist.
I'm in the Divine group. Uh, you said your name is Advent?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you can find it in there, in the pin section in my channel, or you can just go to my YouTube channel. I have the playlist here, which I link in there anyway. And there's an ebook in there as well. So one thing to kind of give you a starter pack with, a little mini roadmap, go through the options Greeks chain video, go through the strat videos, the setups that you're going to be looking for. If you go to the playbook channel in my YouTube, you're going to be focusing on looking for TTOs and the Momo Hammer shooter setups. And you can probably look into taking 1 hour and 4 hour time frame trades. And paper trade for 1 to 2 months. And make sure to journal all the information as you can in the trainings. I was in the trainings. Actually, no, in the psychology of trading and building your trading system, on my YouTube channel, there's a video on journaling and risk management. So you can watch those as well. So you can know exactly what to journal when you're, collecting all the data for your trades, knowing what works, knowing what doesn't work, knowing what tickers you enjoy, which ones you don't like, things like that. Like for me, for options, I basically only trade Tesla. Only here and there, I'll like trade something else if Tesla's not doing anything. But I'm comfy with Tesla. I already have an idea of how it moves and I'm used to it. So that's what I like. But again, if you are new, if I were new, since I can't tell you what to do, what I would do is I would trade IWM. It's pretty relaxed compared to Tesla, SPY, QQQ, things like that other people like to trade. Doesn't move as fast. So it can help you with, building up that patience. But IWM is good. Um, I'll probably do one DTE at the money contracts. Whatever trading platform you're using, I would restart it. If it does let you, restart the starting price at, let's say, $1,000. And don't use more than 100 to $125 per trade. And then Thinkorswim or Weeble and Weeble. On Weeble, I know that you can reset it back to 1,000. Thinkorswim, I think it should let you reset it back to 1,000, if I recall correctly. I just forgot how to do it, but you can reset the paper trading amount to whatever amount you want. So I would reset it to 1,000. That's what I would start with if I were brand new. And then once you start with that, you're just going to paper trade for the next month or two. Once you understand what you're doing, once you have, once you've been winning consistently, then you can go into your live account with your money. That's what I did with my cousin. I took him from knowing nothing to pretty much he trades by himself. He doesn't even need me anymore in about 3.5 months. One thing that I'll mention though, that I help him with every now and then is his trading psychology. Because when you go in with your real money, that's when your emotions start to pop up. That's when a lot of parts of yourself that you didn't even know were there are going to pop up. So you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I'm going to tell you now. So just have that in mind after you get out of paper. All right, Phil, welcome back. Let's see your question. Let me bring this back over here. All right, so Phil, you asked about euphoria, patience, and stop loss. Um, what specifically happens when you're euphoric? Like, are you over trading or over trading, oversizing, not taking profit, stuff like that? And while you're answering that, I'll answer John's question. How do you trade when a stock is at its highs? I'm always looking for the pullback, but would like calls if it's going to keep running. Well, if the setup is to go long, you just go long. You can use its ATR to, get additional targets. Let's say, for the sake of the conversation, let's go to SPY real quick. In this case, SPY is at all-time highs. So if, let's say we break, let's go to the 1 hour. If we, all right, go to the 4 hour. If we break this high and continue going higher, you can just look at its ATR, divide it by 4 or 5, and then you can get some extra targets that way. So you could be like, all right, ATR is $6. Let me go ahead and take profit every $1.10 or every dollar as it continues going in my favor.
He is sort of that senior citizen out here amongst the secondary. So many young guys playing so well.
ATR to get additional targets.
Brian Brandt,
Nothing that you have up here to reference.
Terry Arnold. And I tell you, for Aaron
That
Flynn,
makes sense.
one more time to put just like the secondary.
Yeah, you can draw trend lines as well if you want to. That's perfectly fine. If you want to use those as, resistance levels or target levels or support levels. For the strat, we use broadening formations as some levels. So on ES, there's a broadening formation that we're hitting right here. So when we're hitting all-time highs and I was taking profit based on the ATR and I didn't really know where else to target, I could have had that as one of my targets. So if we continue higher, we're probably going to be going to 6,100. So we'll see what happens. Something to note, I haven't drawn BFs on ES in like a year on TradingView, so I haven't updated these in a while. So these are a year old. Anyway, so you're over trading, Phil. Um, Let me ask you a question. What makes you over trade? Like, what's the thought process that makes you continue taking trades? More money and you feel unstoppable? Gotcha. Yeah, being euphoric or being like excited and happy when you're trading is very dangerous. We need to be neutral when we're trading. You'll see on my watch as I put every day, when you get emotional, take a 1 hour break. Generally, if you don't have proper emotional regulation techniques, it takes the body at least an hour to come down from whatever it's feeling. So being on the euphoric or happy side of when you're trading is horrible and bad. And on the other side, when you're scared, afraid, mad, angry, either spectrum is bad when you're trading because they have their own issues that come up with them. So, euphoric, like you mentioned, being unstoppable. What are some byproducts of that? You start taking trades that you normally don't take. You don't take your setups. You start taking any setup. You start oversizing because you think you're unstoppable, and so many other things that can come up with being euphoric. So, when you start to feel that, that's a flag for you to get up and go walk away from your screen. Go practice your breathing practices if you have any. If not, I would highly recommend looking into box breathing or, deep breaths from your belly, and, go ahead and just go for a walk, go do something. Just don't stay on the chart because
Do you trade
very
with a
dangerous. If I trade what?
do you trade when the stock is reporting their earnings that week, or do you wait for the reaction afterwards?
I'll answer that question in a bit when I'm done with this one. Write it in the chat too, so I don't forget. So in your case, Phil, I would ask you, when you're euphoric and you keep on trading, what results has that gotten you? Big wins and big losses. And is taking big losses part of your trading plan when you're euphoric, or even just being euphoric in general? So some things that we can do here is, understand that when it comes to trading, we just need to be, actually, let's use this analogy that I like using. Let's say you were a hedge fund and you were the boss, and you had an employee that, he makes good money, he wins a lot, but every now and then, when he gets euphoric, he stops respecting his stop loss, and he stops practicing the risk management and all those other things. And let's say you talk to him once or twice, and he's like, all right, cool, I'll take care of it. Now, let's say this continues. Is that somebody that you will keep employed at your firm? Cool. So the reason I say this is because we don't work at a firm, right? So we need to be our own boss. We need to be our own risk manager. We need to be everything because we don't have nobody breathing down our neck saying, hey, what are you doing? This is not your trade. This is not your setup. You're oversizing. You're doing this. You're doing that. So this is where it comes to having all these things in place for ourselves so we know what to do and what not to do. For myself, me and my cousin were trading the other day. We hit very nice trades, and I called him and I was like, yo, did you take that trade? He's like, yep, I took it. And we were like super hyped on the phone. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna make an executive decision. Let's get off, let's stop trading, let's go for a walk. And we'll come back in like 30 minutes and see how we're feeling. Because I already know when I feel like that, I'm not perfect, right? We're human beings. I already know that when I feel like that, I'm going to make silly mistakes. So I know to stop trading and go for a walk and go do something else until I relax. Because it doesn't end well if I stay on. Because what may happen is you're super happy, you're making this money, you overtrade, then you lose. And you're like, all right, I was at 1,000, now I'm at 800. Then you go from 800 trying to get back to 1,000. Now you're at 700. Now being happy, now you go to being upset and angry. And now you get into revenge trading. And now you continue trading, trying to get back to 1,000. And then what ends up happening? You either give everything back and you end the day at zero, or you end negative and give everything back, which nobody wants. And I'm pretty sure people in here have experienced that. I've been through it. If you've been through it, you're not going to be the first. You're not going to be the last. So, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. If you haven't already, let me show you guys. I'm not sure when the last time you were here, Phil, but my trading rules, I have my trading rules printed and laminated in front of me. You don't need a laminator. It's like $2 at FedEx or UPS if they have that to laminate sheets. And I keep it at my desk. So I'm visually seeing my trading rules when I trade. It's not hidden in a journal. It's not in a file on my computer. So I have no excuses. It's literally right in front of me. This is what I follow or what must be followed for me to be successful, right? So definitely do that if you haven't already. Breathing exercises, and also understanding and having that mental talk with yourself. Hey, what am I feeling? All right, I'm feeling euphoric. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling this. All right, what's going to happen if I stay here? I'm probably going to take a bigger loss and I'm going to overtrade. Is that part of my trading plan? No. And then from there, you can talk yourself down from that emotional response. And then, go for your walk, get out of the screen, because if you're looking at the screen, you're going to be enticed and it's going to keep you in that euphoric state. So some things for you to practice and add to your trading routine. Because again, everybody wants to continue making money. It's understandable. But we also need to practice gratefulness. If you made $500 or $1,000 in less than 3 hours, go home, turn the screen off, go do something else, go enjoy your day. There's always gonna be more trades, and we should never be in a situation where we feel like we need to take more, because again, the market isn't going anywhere, and if the market does go somewhere, least of your worries is placing trades. I'll tell you. So. And then same thing with patience, right? As Randy Howell taught me, humans, we're impatient. We want everything now, right? Oh, you want to buy a big house? You want the big house now. You don't want it in 5 years when you got to save up or do whatever you got to do to get that money for the house. You want it now, right? Same thing for trading. We want to keep on taking trades to make that money now for whatever reason it may be. So you need to start developing what Randy calls the trader's mind, because that mind understands that as a trader, your only job is to sit and wait. That's it. Most of the time when you're trading, you're just sitting and waiting for your setup to appear. And once it sets up, you take the trade and then you wait some more until you take profit or you get stopped out. And then you keep on repeating that week in, week out. And that's it. So start to develop that. And one phrase that I use before I go into trading, which you can use as well, just to start programming your mind for this, is I tell myself, my only job today is to take my setups and follow the trading plan. Whatever outcome happens, whether I win or lose, is not up to me. That is up to the market, because that's basically all it is. Even my best setups lose. It is what it is. I took it how I always take it. The market just didn't agree with me, and that's okay. There'll be other trades. So always have those talks with yourself just to start programming yourself to get into that mindset, that patience mindset. I'm a trader, right? I'm not a gambler. I'm here to make money efficiently and properly as a trader. Trying to get the bag to convince others to learn and be an example and prove myself successful as a trader. Gotcha. So remember, right? I made a video on this on my YouTube where outside influences can affect your trading in a negative way. So because you want to make all this money to prove to others and this and this and that, the market does not care in the slightest of what your plans and ambitions are outside of trading. So it's always good to understand that you will prove to them that you are a successful trader and that you are making money and that you will learn and lead by example. But remember, that comes with following your plan, following your disciplines, following your rules. Don't get so focused on the outcome, then it kind of blinds you to the trading process. The outcome comes from the trading process, not the other way around. So something to keep in mind of. The last thing, stop losses. What specifically about stop losses? Is it like where to place your stop loss? What's a good percentage? And while you're typing that, John, I do trade stocks during earnings, depending on how juiced up the contract is for the IV or with the IV. So for Tesla's earning that just passed, I didn't trade it until after earnings because the contracts were too expensive. I was basically paying double or triple than I normally would for one contract. And I didn't want that. So I just didn't even bother trading it until earnings were done. And I do not trade earnings at all. To me, that's just gambling and it's not worth it, in my opinion. You can win big, you can also lose everything. And I don't really care too much about that. So how do you set them on Thinkorswim? Like if I trade puts, how do I use a stop on the market condition? Um, so you wouldn't necessarily, let's see if I can show this to you guys. Let me get my cable. All right, hopefully this wants to communicate and work with us today so I can show you how to do it. I'm assuming you're on your phone. So let's bring up TOS. And they update the app. Interesting. Give me a sec. I'm just logging into Thinkorswim so I can show you how to enable the conditional orders. While I'm bringing this up, Laszlo mentioned, where do you personally look for news to see how stocks will trend in the future? I use marketwatch.com and Forex Factory for like overall news. In the sense of news for stocks, I stopped doing that like 3 years ago when I stopped trading penny stocks. I personally don't care about like looking for individual news for stocks themselves, just because it's just not part of my trading plan anymore. So Phil, I'm going to show you how I do it, and then you can let me know if that's how you do it. All right, let's share my phone screen. Let's see. This should work. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, you can see my screen. Cool. All right, cool. So let's go to a random contract. Doesn't really matter. Let's just say, let's just buy calls for the sake of the conversation. What the heck? They updated the app. Hold on. This is new. Interesting. I've never seen that before. Huh. I might need to mess with this when we finish this. So we're gonna go to conditions right down here. We're gonna expand this. And we're going to go to submit on market condition. And let's just say for the sake of this is a Thinkorswim B, a mobile app. So Phil, let's pretend that you're already in the trade and we're looking to use this order as a stop loss. So we're going to hit sell. And I usually just put market. I don't put stop because when it hits that price, it's going to automatically sell as a market order, which is going to act as a stop order. So we're going to go to submit market condition. The price right now from Tesla is 321. Let's say for the sake of the conversation, my stop loss is going to be at 315. So if it's going to be a stop loss and you're in calls, remember to set it to at or below. If you're in puts and your stop loss is above you, you're going to put at or above. Always double check on the settings you have. So hit done, hit review, and then it's going to tell me right here, sell one Tesla contract, assuming you have one, at 315 or below. So if I'm already in the trade and this is my stop loss and it hits this price, it's going to market sell me out of the position and it's going to get me out of the trade. Did that make sense? So when I'm doing this, I never hit stop because it's gonna set a specific price, which, you know, we don't really care for because we want to get out ASAP as soon as it hits a level. If you're trying to determine what price you should stop out based on how much you want to lose on the value of the stock, you may want to use the Analyze tab on Thinkorswim desktop. And that'll tell you more or less what the stock is going to be worth when it hits a specific stock price, which I don't really use. I kind of just do the math in my head. If the delta is $30 or 0.30 and the stop loss on the stock is $2, I'm going to lose more or less $60 per contract. So I just do the math in my head super quick. All right. And it gets easier over time to do the math on the spot. Because when I first started trading, I just had I have one computer and my phone, and that's it. So I just did all the math like on the spot instead of like going through different screens and trying to figure it out. So I just got used to doing it like that. But whatever works. All right. Let's see. Laszlo. So I went over your question. Raphael is not here. Brooke doesn't look like they're here. Cedric, I don't see you. If you aren't here, let me know. Murtaza, I don't see you in here either. So yeah, whatever other questions you want to ask, come off mute, put it in the chat, and we'll go over it. Any question at all, any struggles you're having, any of that. Anything is fair game. No judgment here.
I have a question about the amount of risk you can take for your account. Is it so when they say 5% of your account, does that mean that's where you put the stop loss to lose that amount, or is that or you use 5% of your account to trade with?
So that depends. For me, I use 7 to 10% of my account in every trade. My max stop loss is going to be 30%, and I'll do the calculation in my head.
So 30% of that 7%?
Yep. So let's say I put 7% of my account, that's 1,000. So I'm willing to lose $300 on that trade. Of
Okay, thank you.
course. And when you go over the risk management video, I have it like kind of itemized in the specific type of trader. So an aggressive trader to me would be somebody who uses 15 to 20% of their account. I'm more of like a mildly aggressive trader, so I use 7 to 10% of my account. A conservative trader might use 2 to 5% of their account. Definitely, Rick. I'm gonna put it in I think it is if you look in the beginner section, it's right here. I put it back in September in the beginner's guide. If you're in another group that's not mine, let me know and I'll put it in there. Cool. Somebody asked a question about futures and setups that I forgot to answer. Let me see if I can find it. Was it in the chat? Might have gotten deleted. there was a questions about futures and setups. So you see my setups in the Discord. You do a lot of future trading with the strat. Yes. A lot of my setups are from the strat. I do have some other setups that I use using fibs, but mainly my setups are the strat when I'm trading futures. What was the question, B? So I can answer it for everybody. And does the strat work for futures? Definitely does. You just have to be very, very picky on the specific setups you take because it can go real south real fast. I'll tell you. So you have to be very, very picky. That's why my trading plan is as detailed as it is, because you don't want to just take any which setups. You want to take the best ones. If you go to trainings and walkthroughs, I think I had it in there, or maybe in the strat. Yeah, does the strat work for futures? You can check that video out. It's in the strat playlist. We went over for like an hour and change. So definitely check that out. So yeah, the strat definitely works great for futures.
How long do you wait in the morning? And do you watch a stock before trying to pick your trigger and your setup?
That depends. One setup takes about 20 minutes to set up in the morning. And if it's what I look for, I'll take it in the first 20 minutes. If it's another setup that I look for, it might set up in 10 minutes or even within 5 minutes of market open. It really depends on what's going on that day. But generally, within the first half an hour, I'm going to take at least one trade, potentially two, if we get a nice TTO early. But generally,
What
that difference between
what
one.
about power hour? Like at the end of the day, how do you determine what setup you're gonna take to swing?
I don't trade the afternoon session. I only trade from 9:30 a.m. to 12 noon. I'm on the charts maximum for 2 hours and a half, maybe 3 hours, where I'll come
That's
back at 1 p.m. Eastern and look for the W setup. If it's not there, I turn everything off.
that's what I'm trying to get to.
I'll definitely, you know, one thing that I'll encourage you to do, if you haven't started journaling yet, start journaling all your trades and then determine where most of your
What
money.
time frame? Yeah, what time is the best?
As for me, I used to be on from 9:30 to 4 p.m. and my brain was fried. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I didn't quit my job to have another job now for 8 hours. I want to enjoy my time and not be tired mentally because, sitting on a computer screen all day can be mentally draining. So, I only trade 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. Last few days, or actually the last week and change, my first setup has been hitting, and I'm pretty much done within the first hour, sometimes the first 30 minutes, and I wrap it up and go about my day. Something that I'll mention to you, Andrew, since you're new, or whoever else may be here that may need to hear this, just because you're on the screen for longer doesn't mean you'll make more money. In my opinion, and from what I've seen in others and myself, the more you're on, the more you actually risk losing because you've been on the computer all day and your brain is fried and you're not as alert or attentive as you were in the morning. So, if you can't trade in the morning, sure, you can trade the afternoon. If you can't trade the afternoon, in my opinion, the morning is all you need. And the amount that you should save up, I would start with 1,000. That's what I would do. But 500 to 1,000 is a good starting balance. But remember, yeah, you can definitely look at that as something to learn from because if you were winning um, before election, when everything was basically heading up to heaven, and then you lost after election, you got to really ask yourself, what setups were you taking? What was winning? What was not winning? B, yeah, um, on the YouTube channel, if you go to B, are you in my Discord or what Discord are you in? because I can give you more information than what I have on the YouTube channel. Cool. So besides so if you go to the educational center and you go to futures guide, I basically have everything you need for futures and to get into it. Everything is here. All the platforms, all that good stuff. There's a video that I made on the YouTube channel right here, Introduction to Futures, kind of explaining it, what they are, so on and so forth, that you can check out there. Are you bullish on tech or do you see a slowdown or pullback? Tech is definitely super bullish. I can definitely see a pullback coming through relatively soon. When? I don't know. That's up to the market. But we should definitely see a pullback, I would say. Yeah. And we have CPI this week, so we might get a pullback for that data. We'll see. But definitely everything is bullish. I wouldn't be shorting anything until the weekly reverses. If your setup triggers with volume less than 1 million shares being traded in the first 15 minutes of the day, or the stock gaps past your entry with space till magnitude, will you still take either trade? Great question, Phil. I have not used volume in about 1.5 years, so I can't speak on volume. I don't even like the way you see my chart right now. That's how I trade. I don't use volume at all. To me, it's not important for how I trade now. If a stock gaps up, I'm gonna just look for a TTO and just keeping it simple. And then for other trades, I look for specific criteria to present itself before I take it.
I got a question. So when I be looking at the 4 hour chart and I see a perfect setup, and then when I change it to different time frames, that setup is not there anymore. How do I know is it the right one to take?
Well, you can mark your levels out, right? So let's say for the sake of the conversation, you're going to, let's say these two bars are here, this bar right there, and then this bar. So this was Thursday. These two bars are Friday. So we can mark the top of the 4-hour level. So 4-hour level, bullish above. So if you wanted to, and you go to the 5-minute time frame, let's say, you can see that the level is still there on the 5-minute time frame, and you could just take it once it breaks as a 4-hour trade, not as a 5-minute trade. Because if you're looking at the 5-minute for strat, you're going to get in once this candle high breaks. So you can go on a lower time frame if you want. Me personally, I'm not going to bother going on a lower time frame if the 4-hour just opened up, because one, there's not enough data for me to look for a trade. And two, I'm taking a trade off the 4 hours, so I don't need to look at anything under that unless I'm looking for another setup. Like for Tesla, when I'm trading it, I just have the 4-hour up and that's it. If I miss the 4-hour entry, then I'll go on the 5-minute or 15-minute to look for another setup. But otherwise, it doesn't make sense for me to go on a lower time frame.
That's the chart looks strong, like it still want to run.
Oh yeah, this thing is freaking the monster. Whoever's shorting this, rest in peace. We did print a doji up here. We'll see what happens, but definitely super strong. And I would even be mindful about shorting this because we have a big fair value gap there and displacement. So I would be very, very against shorting this real big candle personally. And if you take the short off the 4-hour, the daily is still trading inside bar. So you might get caught in chop. Keep that in mind. Andrew, so you don't go to FinViz and search for stocks with the screener. You just trade the same few stocks every trading day. Pretty much. I'm pretty much a creature of habit. I already know how these stocks move, and I don't really care to trade anything else. You can go to FinViz if you want to. If you go to my channel, and I think you said you're from the Divine Discord. if you go to my channel, I think the first post that I pinned, you're going to see if you use Thinkorswim, there's a scanner. Well, I don't have Thinkorswim up on my computer, but there's a scanner that you can upload or that you can add in where you can look for specific setups. It'll look for 2-1 setups, 3-1 setups, hammer setups, double inside setups on the 4 hour and higher to make it easy for me to look for things to swing trade. But that's pretty much the extent that I go because you don't need to trade every stock under the sun. I only trade 2 things a day maximum. Anything more than that, I get overwhelmed. How do you just walk away from the screen and not get addicted to watching? Remember, Phil, I'm human. So we need to have our system in place to let us know when we need to get off, right? Before you get emotional, you're going to start to have physical tells, right? For me, a few physical tells, I stop blinking when I start to get emotional, whether that's happy, upset, whatever. I stop blinking and I stop breathing properly. My breathing gets shallow and then I start gripping my mouse really tight. The last step physically that I get a response to the chart before I go on tilt or I get emotional, I start sweating a lot. As soon as I start to feel myself sweating, that's like red alert. I need to get off right now or something bad is going to happen. So you need to be very mindful of what yours are. For example, do you start using certain language in your head? Do you start, having physical reactions or physiological changes? Like I mentioned, for me, I stop blinking. I stop breathing properly. I start gripping my mouse. I start sweating. You don't just go from trading to tilt. What's the word I'm trying to find? It's a series of events that makes you go full tilt or full euphoria, right? So for example, if you win a trade and you're super hyped, that's a tell right there. You need to get off because you're super hyped. You should not be hyped when you're trading. So you just walk away. Not only that, you need to a practice that my mentor had me go through that helped me a lot. He more so gave this to me for like my life, and I just applied it to trading. But he made me get a sheet of paper and you divide it in two. You put where you're currently at, right? Where am I right now? You put that on one side. On the other side, you're going to put where do I want to be? What does the future me look like? What does the future Phil look like? What is he doing? So future Phil, he's disciplined. He's patient. He gets off before he goes on tilt. He understands when to take his profit and stop trading, so on and so forth. He has these qualities. What am I doing now? And is what I'm doing now, is that in alignment with what I want to do? And you need to really step into that. And how do you feel when you're in the present tense with where you're at now versus where you're at, where you want to be in the future, right? The only way to get to where you want to be in the future is to start doing that now. So whatever practices you're doing now that are not in alignment with your future self, you need to start working on that. So for me, I always bring it back to, hey, what is future Desi doing? Is he over trading? Nope. Is he trading when he's happy or euphoric or upset? Nope. So I get up and walk away. It's hard in the beginning if you have not already established all of that. It's going to take some time to reprogram and get into that habit, because if you had the habit of still trading while you're euphoric, you're going to have to undo that habit slowly. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. So start today to start building those good habits and reducing the negative and the bad ones that you've built over time. Like I said, we're human. We're going to make mistakes, but just do the best that you can in eliminating those habits, right? Cool. because I'll be starting with 1,000 for paper trading, I can only do 3 trades a week with options. Should I focus on swing trades? That is a negative, Andrew. Since you're new, that sounds to me like you got a margin account. Get rid of margin and get a cash account. Cash accounts, you can do unlimited day trades with settled cash. So with 1,000, I can do 10 trades of 100 or 5 trades of 200 or 20 trades of 50. Doesn't matter. And then the funds settle the very next day. So you can use all your settled cash all over again. So if you have margin, which it sounds like you have because what the language that you're using, get rid of margin. You don't need it. Only use a cash account. And remember, we shouldn't be taking a billion trades a day anyway. You want to take the best setups. Cool. All right. Also, don't look into it. Do it. Get rid of margin. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do. All right. Let's see. Cool. Any last questions before we wrap up? I'll take like 2 or 3 more, and then we'll end the call. Great question so far. I'm loving it. Thank you, guys. One thing that I'll mention, Andrew, or Laszlo, and for everybody else, is the language that we use is very, very important, right? Like, for example, Laszlo, when you mentioned, I'll look into this, right? We need to use stronger language for the goals that we want. If you want something, you need to commit to it, right? Like, for example, if you go eat, when you're eating, are you trying to eat? Are you looking to eat? Or are you eating, right? Same thing with whatever you want in life. You have to commit to it and do it. So always use strong language, because if you use weak language, your subconscious is going to absorb that. It's like, well, I looked into doing this, but you didn't commit to it. So commit to what you want. And you can make a list of all your goals and you can phrase it. I commit to achieving X, Y, and Z. I commit to achieving this by this time by doing this, and so on and so forth. B, yes, I do mentor. If you are in my group, since you mentioned about futures trading, you're welcome to get my course. Just send me a message on Discord and I'll send you the special pricing because you are in my group, and you'll get the one-on-one session for free alongside other classes that I have just with my students privately. So if you're interested in that, just let me know, or anybody else that may be, just send me a message on Discord and we'll talk. Phil, I have been trading for half a decade now, so 4.5 years, almost at 5. I've been trading futures I've been trading futures for about 2.5 years now, and options for about 3 years. I started off trading regular stock and penny stocks, and then I discovered options, and I wish I discovered futures a long time ago. How do I feel about Forex? I used to trade Forex too. My cousin got me into Forex. I was upset at him because he's been trading for like 10 years. I'm like, dude, how do I learn? Like, I discovered that he was trading 2 years ago. I'm like, how did I never know that you traded? And you never told me. I wish I would have known about trading 10 years ago. So Forex, it's cool. I personally don't care about it. I prefer to trade futures because with Forex, I don't need to worry about the spread, which for those who have traded Forex, you know what I'm talking about, because the spread will stop you out, even if the price never even hit your stop loss, which I hated. But Forex is cool. I personally don't care about it. Futures is better in my very biased opinion. So, how long have you guys been trading? And what do you want to achieve with trading? And why is trading important to you? So those 3 questions. How long have you been trading? What got you into trading, or why are you trading? And why is it important to you? I have a work from home job, just want financial freedom to do my other goals. Hey, absolutely. If you have a work from home job, you're good to go trading wise. You can have one screen with your work, one screen with your trading stuff. And even if you don't want to go down the route of like being a full-time trader, you can just use it for supplemental income. One of my students, which I'm not going to uh I'll keep him anonymous. He makes good money. He's in tech. He makes over six figures. And with trading, I think he's getting up there to what he makes in his regular job. But he's going to keep his job because of the benefits, right? In the sense of, insurance, things like that. He has a family. If you don't work for a company, insurance is a crap ton of money. I think he said he was paying like 2,500 to 4,000 a month just on insurance for him and his family. But of course, working at a job, it's way less. So things to consider. You can even get a part-time job if they give you health benefits, really whatever works. So I bought my first course in November 2022. I want to achieve financial freedom and all other freedoms that stem from it, generational wealth and a legacy. Hey, me and you both. I got my first course in 2020 from my first mentor, taught me how to trade penny stocks, made a ridiculous amount of money, and my mind was freaking blown that we can make money from this, like crazy stuff. And generational wealth, I hear that, trying to make the future generations. And I don't have any kids yet, but down the line for my future kids and then their kids, build the wealth in the family and make sure everybody lives a comfortable life so they don't need to go through similar struggles that we may have had to go through. So definitely love to hear that. I'll tell you. What are the best days for trading? Again, that's going to be based on your setups and what your journal tells you. For me, my best days are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. My worst days are Friday, and Wednesdays like hit or miss. But yeah, Fridays I usually my worst days, so I use half my position size. But any day could be a good day. It really depends what the market wants to do. If there's going to be a lot of news, like if Jerome Powell's talking or FOMC and the day might be choppy, I'm not going to trade. To me, those are bad days, personally. I was a moment, and Laszlo, you'll learn that in your journaling. You'll see which days are good and which days are bad. Like for some people, they love Fridays. I don't like Fridays that much. That's just what I learned from my journaling. I was a momentum trader before when I first started, but then I learned price action trading, the strat in late 2023, and then I got good. Yeah, man. Phil, so my first mentor, he used to use like Bollinger Bands or whatever you call that, like EMAs and all that stuff. It helped. I made money, right? And he's like, 20, 30% is like amazing return. However, as you would know with the strat, 20, 30% is nothing. Like we get like 50 to 100% on average, like every other day. So the strat, definitely one of the biggest blessings I've ever learned, I'll tell you. I want to learn everything about stocks and the economy. I have a trucking company and free a lot. So I'm trying to learn enough to preach this game to my kids and family like the gospel. Hey, I definitely hear you on that. If you have your own company and you can delegate a lot of the work to other individuals and you have your own free time, you can definitely use this to, build up some more wealth and then teach your kids and family the skill. What I love about trading is that once you learn it, nobody can ever take it from you and nobody can ever fire you from it. You lose your job, cool, I can still trade. You get another job, cool, you can still trade. You go on vacation, you want to trade, just get some internet and you're good to go. So definitely love the whole trading stuff. On board with that. My oldest brother has been trading since I think before the dot-com bubble. And he got he got burned on the dot-com bubble like 24 years ago, which makes sense on why he never told me about trading. I had to learn that he traded through my dad like 3 years ago. And I'm like, bro, you've been trading this whole time. You never told me. But he's more of an investor now. He doesn't trade like I do. I've been trying to get him back into trading, but I think he still has some things to work through. The fib indicator, there really isn't necessarily a fib indicator. There's a fib tool that you can use. Yeah, Phil, that's all you need, strat, and you'll be good. What services should we buy? Like tools for trading, examples, TradingView Pro, etc. If you have paid courses. Yeah, Andrew. So I'll put it in the chat just so you guys have it. And did my mouse freeze? There we go. All right. I'll put it in the chat just so you have it. There's the link to my website. The course is in there. Before you get anything, if you're in a group that I'm in, you can use the code. I think the code is member. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. Is it this one? Cool. If you use the code member, you'll get $50 off of the course. It's a one-time payment of $297. If you're in my group, don't use that code. Just message me and I'll give you another code for the special discount. You just have to message me so I can give it to you. But yeah, the link that I posted in there, wap.com/Cerulean Mind Academy, you can get the course here. And the one-on-one coaching session is included for free in the course, and the Discord access is included there for free as well. So if you're going to get anything here, like the coaching by itself, you get more value out of the course and everything else it brings. And John, I just finished having a class on fibs with my students who got the course, my mentees. What was it, yesterday? Or no, it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was yesterday. We had a class on fibs. So you'll find that in the course in the strategy section. It's about 20, 30 minutes long, if I recall correctly. Laszlo, I use TradingView Plus because when I'm trading, this is my setup. I have the 4 time frames up. I have, I'll look at the same stock and look at all the time frames in one area. If you use Thinkorswim, you don't need to pay for data or you need to pay for none of this. It's all free. And you can customize Thinkorswim to have like 10 charts if you wanted to. So, you can look into Thinkorswim if you don't want to pay for any data. But TradingView, definitely good. You want to pay for market data. If you're not going to use Thinkorswim, like I said, on Thinkorswim, everything is free. You don't need to pay for no data at all. For TradingView, you need to pay for the plan and the data that you want. So you can have real-time data. The free version of TradingView is 5 seconds delayed, which can be a big thing depending how you trade. Hey, John, definitely glad to hear that you got value out of this. Was this helpful to anybody else? This session that we had? Cool. Glad to hear. So as we wrap up, what was everybody's biggest takeaway? What was the biggest thing that you learned in this session? And what is something that you're going to do this week to commit to your goal of being a successful trader? So 2 questions. What was the biggest thing that you learned today, or the biggest thing that stood out? And what is one thing that you're going to commit to moving forward to help reach your goals? Stay patient and wait for triggers. Yes, sir. 100%. Other traders that are good still face emotions in the market. 100%, Phil. You know, nothing, I'm human, just like you. We just need to build that system to protect us against ourselves. Because I already know myself. That's why at 12 noon, I get off the charts. Phil, you're in 100K's group, right? Cool. Hey, definitely, John. So for those who are in 100K's group or in my group, we live trade every Tuesdays and Fridays. This week, I'm probably going to be live trading every day. I dropped the Zoom link in the futures chat at 9:15 every day. So keep an eye out for that, Phil, if you want to join us to, just see what we do and stuff like that. Hey, Jericum, no problem. Thank you for coming out as always. I took away to be patient and not get into FOMO gambling. I am committed to learn entry and exit strategies from your video. Excellent, Laszlo. I saw your message on Discord. I'll respond to you in a bit when we finish up here. I learned I got to get more organized and focused. Hey, Rick, definitely. As always, any questions you have, let me know. I'm here to support you. And John, hey, thanks again for coming out. We'll definitely talk. And everyone else, thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to post a recording. There's going to probably tomorrow, like at 5 p.m., just because I got to process, edit some things. And I'll just have it scheduled for 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow to release on the Trader Circle playlist on the YouTube. But yeah, thanks. Thank you guys again for coming out. We will talk soon. Anybody who wants to work with me or look into the course and things like that, just send me a message on Discord and we'll go from there. Enjoy your night, everybody. Laszlo, I see your message. I'm going to respond back in a few minutes and we'll go from there. Good night, y'all.